For 20,000 years, there was silence. Humanity, once feared and respected across the stars, had disappeared without explanation. Alien scholars debated endlessly. Some said humans destroyed themselves in a great war. Others believed they left the galaxy, vanishing into the dark beyond the rim. But the truth was simple: no one knew. Generations passed. Civilizations rose and fell. Old empires burned, and new powers claimed the stars. To the young races of the galaxy, humans were nothing more than myths, stories told around firelight or in classrooms. A warning of what happens when ambition burns too brightly. But to the Kalari Empire, the largest and most powerful civilization in this era, humans were not myths. They were ghosts. The Kalari archives held ancient records of wars with humanity, wars that nearly destroyed both sides. Records of strange weapons and ships that should not have been possible. Ships that bent space in unnatural ways. Soldiers who fought with a fury beyond logic. The Kalari remembered. And they feared. It was on a cold night aboard the Kalari Deep Space Watchtower Zelos 9 that the silence broke. The scanners picked up something unusual at the very edge of the galaxy. At first, it was dismissed as debris, a cluster of broken asteroids. But the readings did not match. The objects were too symmetrical, too controlled. A young operator named Relac leaned forward, his scaled fingers trembling over the console. "Commander, you should see this," he whispered. The commander, High Watcher Sira, adjusted her cloak and moved to his station. She studied the readings carefully. Her sharp golden eyes widened. "Are those ships?" she asked. Relac nodded. "Yes, Watcher. And not just ships. Look at their size." The holographic display shifted, showing massive outlines drifting slowly in the darkness. Each vessel was kilometers long, silent and cold, yet still functional. Their hulls were scarred with ancient wounds, burns from weapons no longer used in the galaxy. There were dozens. No, hundreds. A fleet. Sira felt her throat tighten. This can't be. Those designs. I've seen them before. In the war archives. Relac's scales turned pale. He whispered the word that none of them had spoken aloud in thousands of years. Humans. The Council of the Kalari Empire met in emergency session. Holograms of the great leaders filled the chamber, their voices sharp and filled with fear. "This is impossible. Humanity has been gone for 20 millennia. Then explain what our sensors detected. Perhaps it is a trick, another empire using ancient hulls to frighten us." "No. The energy signature is unique. Only human ships carried such cores." The room fell silent. Every council member knew the truth. The fleet was real. Humanity had returned. The first speaker of the Kalari, an old and scarred leader named Vale, leaned forward on his staff. "Do we know their intent?" he asked. Sira shook her head. "They have not responded to our hails. No signals, no communication. The ships simply drift closer. Silent. Watching. Waiting." The council erupted again, voices overlapping in panic. "Should we fire upon them before they reach our borders? Fool. If they are truly human, that would be suicide. But if we do nothing, they may already be planning war." Vale raised his clawed hand, silencing them all. "We must remember who we speak of. Humans are not like other races. They do not fight as we fight. They do not conquer as we conquer. They move like storms, vanishing for ages, then striking with fury. If this fleet has returned, we must discover why." Meanwhile, across the galaxy, rumors spread. The Kalari were trying to keep the discovery secret, but whispers traveled fast. Smugglers, traders, and spies carried fragments of the story. "They say the humans are back." "No. That's impossible. They're dead." "Then what is that fleet of black ships moving at the edge of the stars?" Tavern fires burned hotter. Merchant guilds grew nervous. Small empires began preparing for war, terrified that the legends were true. On the border world of Kethros, a Kalari patrol ship was the first to make direct contact. The captain, a stern warrior named Dravik, ordered his crew to approach one of the human vessels. The black ship towered over them like a floating mountain, its hull dark and silent. Not a single light shone from its surface. "Send another hail," Dravik commanded. The signal pulsed into the void. No reply. "Try again." Silence. Dravik's second officer swallowed hard. "Sir, are they alive in there? These ships look like tombs." The captain narrowed his eyes. "No tomb drifts with such power." Then, for the first time in 20,000 years, the ghost fleet moved. Not fast. Not aggressive. But deliberate. The great ship turned its nose toward the Kalari patrol, its shadow covering the smaller vessel. Slowly, a faint blue glow flickered across its hull. The patrol crew froze. Every alien heart beat wildly in fear. Dravik whispered what they all thought. "It's waking up." The Kalari Empire reported the incident to the council. Fear grew like wildfire. For 20,000 years, humanity had been silent. Now, their ships were back. But the question remained, echoing through every hall of power, every palace, every war room in the galaxy. What do the humans want? And why had they returned now? The answer drifted closer with every silent, unstoppable movement of the ghost fleet. The Kalari Empire was restless. The ghost fleet of humans kept drifting closer. Silent. Unstoppable. Every day, the massive dark ships moved deeper into the galaxy, and no one knew how. In the capital city of Valor, the High Council gathered inside their grand chamber. The leaders of the Kalari were tall, with silver skin and glowing blue eyes. They were proud, intelligent, and feared across the stars. Yet now they were afraid. Chancellor Valor spoke first. His voice echoed in the round chamber. "These ships are 20,000 years old. They should be dust. They should be relics. Yet they are alive. Who commands them?" The council murmured. Some believed humans had survived in secret, hiding somewhere in the galaxy. Others believed the ships had no crew at all, that they were controlled by machines, ancient AIs carrying out some last mission. Counselor Drea leaned forward, her voice sharp. "Then why now? Why return after all this time? What woke them?" No one could answer. The fear spreads. Across the Kalari Empire, panic grew. Civilians filled the streets, whispering about the ghosts of Earth. Old stories returned, tales of humanity's wars, their strange resilience, their unmatched fury when pushed. For thousands of years, alien children were taught that humans had destroyed themselves. But now, people asked a new question: what if they didn't? Some Kalari welcomed the idea. If the humans live, maybe they bring knowledge. But others feared. If the humans live, maybe they bring war. At the border outpost of Ravalis, soldiers stared at the drifting fleet on their screens. The ships were massive, each one larger than the Kalari's strongest dreadnought. Their armor was blackened by battles long forgotten. Strange symbols glowed faintly on their hulls. "They look hungry," one soldier whispered. A message without words. On the seventh day, something changed. The fleet stopped drifting. The ghost ships formed a perfect line at the edge of Kalari space. No signals came. No words. Only silence. Then, every Kalari screen flickered. Not only the military networks, civilian screens, personal devices, even old machines that had been turned off for years. All of them glowed with a single image. A human hand. Not flesh and blood, but a shadow of a hand reaching out. The image lingered for 1 minute. Then it vanished. The galaxy shook with terror. "What does it mean?" Drea demanded. "Is it a warning? A greeting? A threat?" Valor whispered. "It means humanity remembers." The probe. The Kalari decided they could not wait. They launched a small probe ship to approach the ghost fleet. The probe carried drones and translators, ready to record anything. As it neared the first human ship, the drones scanned the surface. The hull was cracked, burned, and covered in scars from ancient wars. Yet beneath the scars, the metal was stronger than anything the Kalari had ever seen. The probe sent data back, energy readings unknown, technology beyond explanation. Suddenly, the probe's lights dimmed. Its systems shut down. The Kalari engineers screamed as their screens went black. But before the probe died, it sent one final image. Through a crack in the ship's hull, the drone saw movement. Not machines. Not corpses. Something alive. Whispers of the dead. Back in Valor, the High Council was silent. The image replayed again and again, a figure moving in the darkness of the human ship. Impossible, Drea hissed. They cannot have survived for 20,000 years. But Chancellor Valor only stared, his voice low. The humans were never like us. They were something else. Rumors spread faster than light. Civilians swore they had seen human shadows in the night. Traders said ghostly voices whispered in the void. Whole planets prayed for protection. The Kalari military prepared for war, yet none wanted to fire first. To attack the fleet was to risk awakening something terrible. The awakening. On the 10th day, the first human ship moved. Slowly, its engines flared to life. Ancient, silent thrusters burned with light. The Kalari fleet surrounded it, weapons charged. "Do we fire?" the admirals asked. But before orders could be given, the ship's surface began to shift. Plates of metal slid apart. A massive gate opened on its side. And then, from the shadows, smaller ships emerged. Sleek, triangular craft with glowing edges. Fighters. Dozens of them. The Kalari fleets panicked. Weapons locked. Targeting systems screamed. Yet the human ships did not fire. They only circled, moving with impossible precision, forming patterns in the void. The Kalari scanned the formation. Their computers froze, then displayed one chilling word in human language. Remember. Suspense ending. The Kalari Empire was paralyzed. The Ghost Fleet had awakened. Humanity, silent for 20,000 years, had spoken a single word. But what did it mean? Were the humans returning as friends? Or as executioners? As the Kalari Council debated, the Ghost Fleet began to move again, deeper into the galaxy. Not to attack. Not to stop. But toward something none had seen for millennia. The lost world of Earth. The Kalari War Council sat in silence. The hologram of the human fleet filled the chamber, giant, scarred ships drifting like shadows. Their metal looked older than any empire alive today. Counselor Varys broke the silence. They are not answering us. For 2 cycles we have sent messages. No response. No light. No sound. Only movement. The Grand Strategist, Lord Kael'Tor, leaned forward. Movement is enough. It means they are alive. Or worse, whispered another counselor, it means they are dead, and something else pilots them. The chamber grew colder. Even the most hardened warlords felt uneasy. The galaxy knew human legends, warriors who fought until stars turned to ash, explorers who walked on planets no one dared touch, engineers who made weapons that bent space. But those legends were ancient. Humanity had been gone for 20,000 years. So how could this fleet still exist? First encounter. On the 3rd night of observation, the Kalari Empire sent scout ships. Small, fast vessels slipped past the borders of the Ghost Fleet, their sensors glowing. Approaching the nearest hull, one scout captain reported. No life signs detected. No energy readings. The metal, it feels wrong. Like it's alive. The signal crackled. Then, boom. The scout ship's transmission cut into static. A burning light filled the hologram. The ship had vanished. Destroyed, gasped Counselor Varys. No, said the sensor master, pale with fear. It was absorbed. The room froze. The ghost ship hadn't fired a weapon. It had simply opened, swallowed the scout vessel, and closed again, like a beast taking prey. The message. Then, for the first time in 20,000 years, sound echoed across the stars. A voice. It was human, deep, broken, ancient. You should not have disturbed our sleep. Every council member shivered. The message repeated on all channels, in all languages of the galaxy. Whoever commanded the fleet wanted everyone to hear. Lord Kael'Tor slammed his fist against the table. This is proof. They are human. They are alive. And they are not pleased. But why return now? Asked another. Why drift in silence for ages, then awaken only when we approach? No one had an answer. The fear spreads. Across the galaxy, the message spread faster than light. On border worlds, civilians panicked. Old stories resurfaced, the tales of Earth-born soldiers who fought the Cairn swarm until the swarm vanished forever, of human commanders who once commanded fleets so terrifying that even the Kalari bowed in fear. Some called the fleet a curse. Others called it salvation. But one thing was certain, no empire felt safe. The Zorati hegemony declared martial law. The Veilok dominion closed its borders. Even the nomadic Veari, who never feared war, pulled their ships into hiding. The humans were back. And no one knew if they came as saviors or executioners. Inside the flagship, unknown to the Kalari, deep within the largest ghost ship, faint lights flickered. Cryo chambers. Inside them lay humans. Their faces were pale, frozen in time, but their eyes were beginning to move. One by one, after millennia, the sleepers were waking. Captain Elias Ward opened his eyes. His chest burned as air rushed back into his lungs. He coughed, gripping the sides of the chamber. Around him, thousands of others stirred. Soldiers, scientists, engineers. He whispered through cracked lips. We made it back. But his voice carried something else. Not joy, not peace, only purpose. Back in the council, Kalari sensors recorded the awakening. Vital signs appeared across the ghost fleet. Energy surged. The ships began to hum like thunder. They are alive, said the sensor master. Fully alive. Counselor Varys trembled. Then the legends are true. Humanity has returned. Lord Kael'Tor did not tremble. He smiled. Then we must prepare. For if they wake with anger, this galaxy will burn. The chamber shook as alarms screamed. The ghost fleet had changed course. It was no longer drifting. It was moving. Directly toward the Kalari homeworld. Suspense built like a storm. The galaxy watched in fear. No one knew why humanity had come back. But one truth echoed louder than all others. For 20,000 years, humanity was silent. Now their voice had returned. And it carried the sound of war. 4 days, the galaxy watched in fear. The ghost fleet drifted past star systems, its colossal ships moving without sound, without signal. Every empire sent their best fleets to shadow the humans. The Kalari, the Turok, the Zanari, all wanted to know what these ancient giants planned. Yet none dared to fire. The humans did not attack. They did not respond. They only drifted forward, as if on a mission older than memory. In the Kalari High Council chamber, the atmosphere was tense. Chancellor Vaynar slammed a clawed hand against the table. They mock us. They enter our space without permission. Are we so weak we let ghosts command our stars? But Elder Sarek, calm and wise, shook his head. No. If humans wanted war, we would already be ash and dust. You forget our own history. 20,000 years ago, their fleets erased the Droll Confederacy in one night. Not with numbers. Not with power. With something else. What else? Demanded a younger counselor. Sarek's eyes dimmed. With fear. The humans fought in ways we still cannot understand. They never showed their true strength. and when they vanished, the galaxy sighed in relief. The chamber fell into uneasy silence. Meanwhile, on the fleet's shadowing mission, Captain Lurok of the Kalari Navy grew restless. His sleek cruiser flew beside one of the human ships, dwarfed like an insect near a mountain. The alien vessel was scarred and burned, as if it had crossed wars beyond imagination. Its armor plates looked melted in places, but still it held together. Strange markings glowed faintly along its sides, ancient human symbols no alien could read. Suddenly, his first officer cried out, "Captain! One of the human ships. It's opening something." On the ghost ship's hull, a bay door split open with a thunderous groan. From the dark interior, a smaller craft emerged, black, angular, silent. The Kalari crew froze. "It's a scout," whispered Lurok. "They are watching us." But the small human craft did not attack. Instead, it drifted past their cruiser, engines glowing faint blue. Then, without warning, it vanished, disappearing into folds of space no Kalari sensors could track. "Impossible!" shouted the science officer. "That was not hyperspace. That was something else." Lurok gripped the console, his heart pounding. "They have technology we cannot imagine. And they have not even spoken a single word." Across the galaxy, panic grew. Civilizations began evacuating border worlds. Traders refused to travel through sectors near the Ghost Fleet's path. Whispers spread in taverns and military barracks. The humans have returned. Some believed they came for revenge. Others believed they came to reclaim lost territory. But the most chilling rumor was whispered by priests of the Varian faith. "They are not alive. They are the dead, walking again. Their souls drift with their ships. That is why they do not speak." Finally, an emergency summit of galactic powers was called. The meeting took place on the neutral station of Arkan Prime. Leaders from 20 empires gathered, voices raised in fear and anger. "We must destroy the fleet before it reaches our core systems," shouted the Turok warlord. "Fool," answered the Zenari delegate. "Strike them, and you doom us all. We cannot win against them." "They have not attacked," argued Elder Sarek. "Maybe they seek peace. Maybe." The chamber erupted in shouts. No agreement was reached. Only fear. And as the summit collapsed into chaos, a messenger ship arrived with breaking news. The humans had finally made contact. Not with words. Not with images. But with a signal. Every starship, every station, every datapad across the galaxy suddenly received the same transmission. It was a sound, a deep, echoing tone like the toll of a funeral bell. It lasted only seconds, but it shook every listener to their core. After the sound came a message, written in the ancient human language. Most could not read it, but translations spread within minutes. It said only, "We are coming home." The galaxy shuddered. What did home mean? Earth was long abandoned, a dead world swallowed by storms. Humanity had no empire anymore, no known colonies. So where, then, was home? The fleets that had vanished for 20,000 years now had a purpose, and they were moving closer to the galactic center. Captain Lurok felt the chill of destiny as he looked at the endless human ships stretching into the dark. "They were silent for 20,000 years, he whispered. "And now, they have spoken. What comes next will change everything." The chamber fell into silence after the strange message filled the air. Every alien leader on the Kalari Council froze, their eyes wide. The voice was not mechanical. It was human. Calm. Cold. It echoed as if from far away, as though spoken by someone both alive and dead. The words still burned in their minds. "We remember. We are not here for war. We are here to collect what was left behind." High Chancellor Vera leaned forward, her hands trembling slightly. What does that mean?" she whispered. The Kalari Council chamber erupted with arguments. Some shouted that it was a trick, that the humans were lying. Others warned that the fleet's silence for so long was proof of unimaginable power. Their ships should not even function after 20 millennia, one scientist argued. And yet they move. They live. This is beyond our understanding. Across the galaxy, other empires listened to the transmission. Some dismissed it, claiming it was only an echo of the past, some ancient automated system. But others, especially the ones who remembered the legends, felt fear. The Draken Empire, known for its warrior culture, immediately declared the humans were bluffing. If they are alive, we will crush them, their warlord growled. Yet even as he said it, unease lingered in his voice. For the Kalari, the situation grew worse. Strange signals began spreading from the human fleet, bursts of data, fragments of old human languages, codes that no alien could fully translate. It was like hearing ghosts speak in tongues long dead. Ambassador Lyran, pale and sweating, turned to the council. We must not provoke them. The humans are not drifting aimlessly. They are choosing their path. And it leads here. Every head turned toward the star map. The ghost fleet was moving directly toward the Kalari homeworld. Panic gripped the Empire. Citizens flooded the streets, demanding answers. Military ships formed defense lines, though their commanders knew they could not stand against relics of such power. Then, at last, the humans spoke again. The message was broadcast across every channel, not just to the Kalari but to the entire galaxy. The voice was calm, almost emotionless. For 20,000 years we have slept. For 20,000 years you grew without us. But now, we return to claim our memory. The seeds we left must be gathered. The galaxy froze. What seeds? What memory? Some historians rushed to dusty archives. They remembered rumors that humans, before vanishing, had hidden great knowledge across the stars. Technologies. Weapons. Secrets that could rewrite civilization itself. If this was true, then the human fleet had not come for war, but for something even more dangerous. The Kalari Council was torn apart by fear. Some members begged to surrender immediately, to offer anything the humans asked for. Others screamed for war, convinced submission would mean the end of their people. But before they could decide, the human fleet arrived. The skies above the Kalari homeworld darkened as the first of the ghost ships entered orbit. Enormous and silent, the vessel blotted out the sun for entire cities. Its black hull shimmered with ancient scars, marks of wars fought in forgotten ages. Citizens fell to their knees in terror. Others stared in awe, as though watching God's return. Then the Kalari defense fleet opened fire. Thousands of plasma cannons unleashed their fury at the human ship. Explosions lit the sky. The ground shook with the impact of their weapons. But when the smoke cleared, the ghost ship was untouched. Not a single scar. The Kalari commanders stared in disbelief. And then, the ship moved. It did not fire back with weapons the Kalari understood. Instead, strange waves of energy pulsed from its hull. The Kalari warships froze in space, their engines dead. Entire fleets drifted like toys in the void, powerless. On the surface, communication grids collapsed. Power across the capital city failed. Darkness spread, leaving only the silent shadow of the human ship above. The Kalari Council chamber shook as systems shut down one by one. Ambassador Lyran whispered, voice trembling. They are not destroying us. They are disabling us. Like we are children, like we are nothing. And then, once more, the human voice echoed across the galaxy. You kept our relics. You built upon our ruins. But you never understood what we left behind. Now, you will remember what it means to see us. The message ended. The ghost fleet remained in orbit, silent, watching. The Kalari people prayed. The galaxy held its breath. For the first time in 20,000 years, humanity had spoken, and the universe would never be the same. The galaxy was silent. The human fleet had vanished into the black, leaving only wreckage of Kalari warships and broken satellites floating in space. Every alien empire that had watched the battle was now afraid. The humans had not spoken, had not demanded tribute, had not even explained their return. They came like ghosts, struck with unstoppable power, and then disappeared again into the endless dark. But the silence did not last. 3 days after the battle, every major empire received the same transmission. It was not a signal of war, it was a recording, sent through old human frequencies that most species had long forgotten. The message began with static, then a voice. It was a human voice. Calm, cold, but filled with something deeper. We were never gone. For 20,000 years we watched. For 20,000 years we waited. And now, when the galaxy has forgotten what fear feels like, we return. The Kalari Council listened in stunned silence. The voice continued, and every word felt heavy, as if history itself was speaking. You thought humanity was extinct. But we hid, rebuilding in shadows beyond your reach. We became something you cannot understand. We do not seek your lands or your wealth. We seek one thing only, to remind you that humanity endures. We are the storm that sleeps. We are the silence before thunder. The broadcast ended. No threats. No explanation of why they attacked the Kalari. Just a warning, simple, terrifying, final. Panic in the galaxy. Across the stars, fear spread faster than light. Some empires prepared for war, building fleets and raising armies. Others begged for peace, sending signals into the void. Humans, we respect you. We do not seek conflict. But no reply came. In the Kalari capital, Chancellor Vale addressed the council. Humanity has returned. They do not need territory, they do not need allies. They need only memory. They want us to remember who they were, and who they still are. General Reth, scarred from the failed battle, slammed his fist on the table. We must strike now. Hunt them down before they grow stronger. But another counselor whispered what many already feared. If a ghost fleet that has slept for 20,000 years can destroy our finest armada in minutes, how powerful are the ones still hidden? No one answered. A survivor's secret. Among the wreckage near the battle site, a Kalari scout ship recovered something unexpected, a damaged human drone, half destroyed, its systems sparking. When Kalari scientists examined it, they discovered fragments of an ancient human database. Most files were corrupted, but one phrase repeated across the databanks, burned into the code like a warning. It read, "This is not our fleet. This is only our memory." The Kalari Emperor's hands shook as he read the translation. If this was not the true human fleet, then where are the real ones? The room turned cold. The galaxy realized a terrifying truth. The ghost fleet was only a fraction, a shadow of something far greater. The final revelation. Weeks later, on the far edge of the galaxy, miners from the Volther Union discovered a system of dead stars. Orbiting those stars were thousands of human ships, colossal, silent, unmoving. They stretched across the void like a graveyard, each vessel scarred but intact, larger than anything the galaxy had ever built. The miners fled in terror, but before they could escape, the stars themselves flickered. The ghost fleet was awakening. The choice. The galaxy now stood at a crossroads. Fight humanity, and risk total destruction. Or accept their silent dominance, living under the shadow of ghosts who had returned from history. The Kalari Emperor called a secret meeting. His voice trembled as he spoke to his advisors. We thought we ruled the stars. But the truth is clear. The galaxy belongs to the humans. Always has. Always will. Some wanted to resist. Others wanted to kneel. But no one knew what the humans truly wanted, because they never asked for anything. They only returned. The last scene. Far beyond known space, in a hidden chamber aboard the lead human dreadnought, a figure watched the galaxy through holographic maps. His face was human, but his eyes glowed with something unnatural, something ancient. He turned to the others gathered beside him, men and women who looked human, yet moved with precision and silence. The leader finally spoke. The galaxy has grown soft. They forgot the old wars. They forgot the cost of underestimating us. Now, they will remember. The crew answered with one voice, calm and cold. Humanity endures. And with that, the ghost fleet vanished again into the endless dark, leaving the galaxy trembling, waiting, and afraid of the day they would return once more. Because the message was clear. This was only the beginning.